Hey guys, this is God of Politics. I'm over to a brand new video, but before we get started with this video, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also follow me on Twitter and join the Discord. Those are both linked down in the description. But in today's video, I do want to talk about the possible recall of California Governor Gavin Newsom. Now, this is a very big event that's going on right now because really, we don't have that many elections going on in the near future. We have a couple special elections for some House seats. We have the Senate and House primaries for the 2022 elections, which are, over a year away. But we do have this possible recall election, which could happen within the next couple of months. If it does happen, it'll probably be, maybe July, August, September, that kind of time. But there is a possibility, I think a pretty likely possibility, that Gavin Newsom will be recalled. At least they'll get enough votes to be able to have a vote on the recall and then an election. So there is, of course, a recall effort against Governor Gavin Newsom, and there is a candidate for the Republican that has already entered the race, and that is former San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer, who is hoping to accomplish what no Republican has since 2003, becoming governor of one of the bluest states in the country. He said, "I believe Californians want to change. As we look at the reality, we all love our state, but what we're seeing is jobs are fleeing. Our state can't do the basics." He was the mayor of San Diego from 2014 to 2020, which is a blue city, a very blue city, like most cities in California and the country. So there have been a lot of attacks against Gavin Newsom for his response to COVID. And, they are about to be number one in terms of COVID deaths, and they have the most amount of cases as well, which is quite a problem. Many people have blamed that on Gavin Newsom. So he is quite a moderate candidate. But he is hoping that he can get probably, all the Republicans, but he's going to need a lot of moderate Democrats as well. So as for the petition, now in California, you need a certain amount of signatures to trigger a recall, and you need 1.5 million signatures, which if you think about it is pretty ridiculous, given you look at the 2020 election, you had over 17 million votes. So basically you need under 10% of the total votes to trigger a recall. So a small minority could trigger a recall, which does seem kind of, ridiculous, but that is the way it is. So they do have 1.4 million signatures out of the 1.5 million that they need, but they're probably going to need more than that because some signatures will be thrown out. But the state officials have verified 410,000 as of early January. We're now in early February. They do have till mid-March, and I do believe it's very likely they'll get to that 1.5 million number. And I do think it's very likely that they'll have more than 1.5 million that are also certified. And there was, of course, the economic downturn due to COVID, and Newsom critics have said that the governor has kept public schools closed too long and failed to fix the state's unemployment benefit system, its record homelessness, and an affordable housing shortage. So according to a poll released Tuesday by the nonpartisan Public Policy Institute of California, 54% of Californians approve of Newsom's jobs performance, down from 65% in May. What started as a conservative-led recall effort has gained bipartisan support in recent months, with Democrats also criticizing Newsom over a shifting COVID-19 vaccine strategy and for allowing schools to stay closed. Now, Faulconer is promising a, quote, California comeback if voters choose him over Newsom. So, I think a lot of the bipartisan support is actually probably coming from Democrats who are further to the left. I believe one of the people that's on the Young Turks actually signed the petition to get rid of Newsom. I think people who are further on the left want Newsom gone because they want someone that's more progressive, while Republicans are signing the petition as well because, of course, Gavin Newsom's a Democrat. They're going to hope that they can get a Republican in office in the form of most likely Kevin Faulconer, maybe another candidate, but he's the most likely candidate that the Republicans are going to run. But when you have 54% of people that approve of Gavin Newsom, that's 54% who approve of his job. I don't think any of those people are going to vote to recall him. Plus, you're going to have people who disapprove of him who aren't going to vote to recall him as well. So I think that is going to be I think it's very unlikely that the recall will actually succeed and Gavin Newsom will be gone. I think that he has, over a 95% chance of serving until 2022 and then winning that 2022 election and serving another 4 years. He is in quite a good position. Sure, his approval rating was at 65% in May and it's down to 54%, but other governors have been higher, up in the 60s, up in even in the 70s in some cases. Their approval ratings have gone down as well. So you've seen this thing across the country. It's not just with Gavin Newsom. And of course, it does corroborate what I'm saying. It says Kusser, who is from the political science professor. He's a political science professor at the University of California. He says that beating Newsom would be a long shot. California is one of the bluest states in the nation. You go to his 2018 governor performance, he got 62% of the vote, which is actually the greatest share of the vote that any Democrat has ever gotten in a California gubernatorial election. Only a couple of Democratic candidates have won by a greater margin, let alone getting 62% of the vote. Gavin Newsom won counties like Orange County, counties that are historically quite Republican, and he won very, very easily, and he got very big margins in the biggest counties, of course, and that's why California is now a Democratic state. The California GOP has really fallen downhill in terms of their control in the state. You go back to 1994, it was a 21-17 margin in the state Senate. Democrats still have the majority, but it was 21-17, and now it's 30-9. So Republicans have lost 8 seats. Democrats have gained 9 seats. So it's really it hasn't been good for the Republican Party, to say the least. And you look at the control by year. Republicans had the governorships from 2004 to 2010. They also had the governorship from 1992 to 1998, as far back as it goes here. They also had the state assembly in 1996. You go to the state assembly control, and you can even see, you see an even bigger story here. The Republicans had a 41-39 majority back in 1994, and then now it's all the way up at 60-19. Republicans have lost over half of their caucus since 1994. Democrats have gone from 39 to 60. Republicans have gone from 40 to 19. It says all the Republicans won a 40-39 majority defections, and their caucus led to an alternating control of the chamber between Republicans and Democrats. But the point is that Republicans are really fallen downhill. Hillary Clinton won the state by 30 points. Joe Biden won the state by 30 points, which was more than Obama in both 2008 and 2012. John Kerry won the state by less than 10 percentage points, and Al Gore got a similar margin as well. So California is really only becoming a more Democratic state. And while the state did trend slightly red, when you consider the fact that like 30% of the state, give or take a couple percentage points, is Hispanic, that's actually not that impressive, because Trump got huge gains with Hispanic voters. So really should have done better in California. But there is precedent for recalling governors, and in 2003 there was a successful recall. You had Democratic Governor Gray Davis, who was recalled, and you had Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was running in that election, and he ended up winning quite easily against Cruz Bustamante. But 2003 California was much less of a blue state than it is now. Tom McClintock also ran, who is currently a congressman, which is also quite interesting. But you see Arnold Schwarzenegger won counties that really no Republican is going to win today, counties like LA County. Like, Republicans, like, you can't be serious about that. But Gray Davis, had like a 20% approval rating in some cases, yet 45% of people still voted against the recall. Only 55% of people voted yes, and the counties that voted yes were, of course, the Republican counties. You'll see a similar thing this time, but there's much less Republican counties now than there were in 2003. So it's going to be a big problem for Republicans, because you can get 8% of the state to sign a petition, or 8% of the state's total votes in 2020 to sign a petition, but is that going to turn into actual results when you have a full state vote on whether you should recall the governor? I don't think so. And sure, people who are against Newsom may be more inclined to turn out, but there's still going to be people that do support the governor, more neoliberal, moderate Democrats who do still like Gavin Newsom, who are just going to say, no, we don't want to do this. We're going to turn out and we're going to say, no, we don't want to have a recall. And recalls are very lengthy and very brutal processes. I'm not sure that's really what California wants. And the end goal is just going to be Gavin Newsom's going to continue to be governor. So really, this is not going to be much of a problem for Gavin Newsom. Sure, his approval rating has, quote, plummeted, according to the LA Times. Only a third of people support the recall. Almost 50% oppose it in a poll. And you're going to have a lot of undecideds who are just going to break to not having a recall. You look at this poll and it says 45% they would oppose such a move. 45% oppose it, and a third support it. That is a good number of people who are undecided, who would most likely break. They'd have to break in quite a large number for it to not be 50% no. Gavin Newsom, of course, was once seen as a very prominent figure in the Democratic Party, a rising star. He's worked part of the government pretty much every day since the 90s. He was a lieutenant governor. He was part of like the city council. He's been in a lot of different jobs. Some people are saying he could run for president, but we'll see about that. But speaking specifically to this, he's still got around a 50% approval rating. When you compare that to Gray Davis, who barely lost the recall, sure, it was just 45% voted to not recall him, but with an approval rating in the 20s, that's a big margin of people who didn't approve of him but voted against the recall. You'd have a similar thing this time. This all just seems like a waste of time. You have a Republican Party that is dying in the state, that is trying to have their last gasp. They're losing in the state Senate. They're losing in the state Assembly. They're losing ground at the presidential elections. They are losing the gubernatorial elections. They're basically losing everything, and they have only a couple congressional districts left. Really, it's not going to go well for them. Gavin Newsom's going to continue to be the governor, and I can't see Republicans winning California in the foreseeable future at all. But I did want to talk about it because it is an event that is being talked about quite a lot, and it is one of the few elections that we may have coming soon. So thank you all for watching this video. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also follow me on Twitter and join the Discord. Those will both linked down in the description. But again, guys, thank you all for watching this video, and I'll see you guys later.